All right, so today we're going deep on something a little bit different.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, right. So we're going to be looking at a song,
Okay.
but not just any song. Like this one is it's got layers and people are really talking about it
Okay.
in terms of like, how we deal with breakups in the age of like social media and all that.
Yeah.
So it's the song is Good in Bed
Okay.
by TAELA.
I've heard of her.
Yeah, and so it's I mean just that title
Yeah.
and then the melody is super catchy too.
Mm.
It's like between those two things, it's got a lot to unpack about modern relationships.
It is really interesting to see how much a song can like reflect the culture
Totally. Yeah.
and like what's going on in relationships.
For sure. And this one, like I said, has like a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
But right away, like off the bat, there's this like kind of defiant tone.
Uh-huh.
And like she's throwing her ex's words back at him.
Okay.
Like with that line, go ahead and tell everybody that I'm crazy.
Oh yeah, she's like owning it.
Exactly. It's like she's not even fazed by it.
Yeah. It's
Which is interesting.
it's almost like she's like taking back control
Right.
of like the story.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, do you think that that confidence is always genuine
That's a great question.
after a breakup? Or is it, sometimes is it just like a way to kind of like cover up the hurt?
Yeah, like, are you trying to convince yourself more than anyone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Like sometimes the loudest voices are the ones that are like, hurting the most,
Totally.
trying to like convince themselves that they're okay.
Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time, right? Like, and it's almost like this song could be her way of like, reclaiming that power,
Mm.
even if underneath she's like still hurting.
Right. And like we see this a lot, like especially I feel like with the women,
Yeah.
where it's like this shift away from, being shamed or silenced after a breakup.
For sure.
And it's like they're owning their experiences and their sexuality.
Yeah. In a way that I think is really like changing the game a little bit.
Totally. And speaking of like changing the game and like, those expectations,
Yeah.
what about that part where she's talking about like her ex calling every night
Oh, yeah.
and saying she's like the best he's ever had?
Oh, my God.
Like, hasn't everyone been there?
Oh, yeah.
Like the ex that's like trying to put you down,
Yeah.
but then also wants you back at the same time.
It's so confusing.
It is. It's like such mixed signals.
Totally.
But,
It's actually really interesting because there's this thing called like attachment theory,
okay.
and it kind of explains this behavior as like anxious attachment.
Mhm.
So like he needs her validation to like feel good about himself,
Oh, wow.
even though he's trying like, put her down to like protect his own ego.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, and you could almost say that it's like a power play too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To try to keep her like emotionally like tethered to him,
Right.
even though he's like moved on with someone else.
Exactly. And then she has that part where she talks about him telling his new partner that like she sucks.
Oh yeah,
And that she was like, the reason that their relationship ended,
classic.
is that just like the classic bad mouthing your ex? Or is there like something more there, do you think?
I think it's definitely a way to like, control the narrative. But I think it also, if you dig a little deeper, it could be because of societal expectations too.
Yeah.
Like especially for men.
Mm-hmm.
There's this pressure to always be like the winner, even in a breakup.
Right.
Like admitting fault or, showing your vulnerable side can be seen as like weak.
For sure.
So he's like rewriting history to protect his image, both to himself and to his new partner.
Totally. And it's almost like he can't even face like the reality
Mm-hmm.
of like his own role in the breakup.
Right.
But then she has this line in the chorus that's just like killer.
What is it?
She's like, if you tried saying I'm not good in bed,
Ooh.
like that's not just owning her sexuality.
Right.
That's like using it as like a total power play.
She's like flipping the script
Flipping
on
the-
like the classic insecurity,
Yeah.
and instead of being like shamed by this potential criticism,
Yeah.
she like owns it and throws it back at him
Totally.
and basically dares him to challenge her.
It's like she's saying, you can try to bring me down,
Yeah,
but it's not going to work.
because she knows her worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, what does this all mean for like, all of us out here trying to navigate these crazy modern relationships?
Well, I think TAELA gives us like a really good model for like moving on.
Okay.
It's about self-respect, owning your story and like refusing to let someone else define your worth,
Mm-hmm.
especially like when it comes to intimacy.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like a really big one.
Definitely some food for thought. And like, here's a final question for everyone listening.
Oh, I like it.
So do you think that this kind of like public display of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
especially like on social media,
Yeah.
is it always helpful in the healing process?
Yeah. Ooh, or could it sometimes like get in the way of actually like reflecting on yourself?
That's deep.
Yeah. So think about that. Until next time.
Keep diving deep, everybody.
All right, see you later.
Bye.